Well, the subject of dark money in judicial nominees has come up several times during Judge Jackson's Supreme Court nomination hearings.
Now, dark money refers to funds designed to influence political outcomes where the source of the money is not disclosed. Ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, in his opening remarks Tuesday, addressed the issue.
I've talked about the troubling role of far-left dark money groups like Demand Justice have played in this administration's judicial selection process. When the Demand Justice isn't creating short lists for President Biden to pick judicial nominees from or putting out new litmus tests, they're running ads, campaigns attacking the independence of the judiciary.
All right, let's get right to Anna Massoglia. She tracks money and politics for the nonprofit group OpenSecrets, where she serves as editorial and investigations manager. Anna, thank you for joining us. As we just heard from Senator Grassley, he referred to the progressive group Demand Justice. Can you tell us more about what Demand Justice is and what they have done in relation to Supreme Court nominees?
Sure. So Demand Justice is a dark money group that takes money from anonymous donors on the left, where they have primarily spent in support of judicial nominees, or in this case, or in opposition to Trump's judicial nominees. They're a bit more of a recent addition to the Supreme Court dark money infrastructure, so to speak, where for a number of years the primary spender was a group called Judicial Crisis Network, also a dark money group. But during the Trump administration, we saw Demand Justice start emerging as a counterweight to that group. Both groups are spending millions of dollars around the nomination and the confirmation process, and Demand Justice has emerged as, again, as a major player in this administration. And this is really their first test case under the Biden administration for getting a Supreme Court justice nominated and confirmed.
But does dark money have a real impact on the nomination process? You mentioned millions and millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, is the choice of a sitting president of the United States, that still is their choice. So what's the impact here?
Well, we've already seen some of Demand Justice's impact just in how in their campaign to push Justice Breyer to retire, where we saw last year a billboard was being driven around D.C. With Breyer retire, a number of messaging online. There's a site that Demand Justice runs that effectively took credit for that retirement, announcing that their pressure campaigns had been successful. So we are already seeing some of that political muscle being flexed. But how successful it will be in the ultimate confirmation process is not as straightforward. At this point, this confirmation in particular is a little bit less high stakes than some of the confirmations were reviewed during the Trump administration. So we're seeing a lower budget on both sides of the aisle this time, at least in terms of anticipated budget. But so it's hard to tell how much impact it will have as of yet, but we're certainly seeing that spending. We're seeing it getting saved, and we're seeing it being talked about, and that alone is evidence that it's having that impact.
And in what ways is this money being spent? Is it advertisements that we're seeing on TVs? Where is that going?
Sure. So a lot of Demand Justice in particular spending is going to TV advertisements, online advertisements. We don't really know the specifics of how much is being spent on specific things outside of what they have announced, and what is shown in online ad data and filings from the Federal Communications Commission, which tracks political ad spending on television and on radio. But because these groups are not required to disclose a full itemization of their spending or disclose their donors, we really don't know the full extent of what they're spending on. And a number of online platforms do not voluntarily disclose data about what is being spent and the amounts. And so we're really just going off of the announcement that Demand Justice would spend millions of dollars during this process, and some of those TV ads and those online ads, which have started on Facebook and a few other areas.
Now, Anna, for the general public out there who are watching this process play out, and then they hear just the words dark money and they're hearing about influence, does it erode at all the trust in the process of confirming Supreme Court justices, which of course we all learn in school is the president's choice and then they get voted on?
By having these outside groups coming in and having this messaging, in particular messaging that where the source of that funding is not disclosed, really presents a number of issues for the average voter or the average American who wants to consume this information, whether they're seeing it online or on TV, knowing what source might be coloring that information, trying to sway their opinions is very important and can absolutely jeopardize the integrity of the system and the appearance of that. And I'm sure that for many average Americans can be disconcerting at the very least. And at this point, we're only in the confirmation process. But once a justice is confirmed, outside groups, even dark money groups, their role does not disappear. At that point, you have briefs that can still be filed and influence that can be exerted behind the scenes in a number of different ways. So it's not something that just stops when the confirmation happens. And that raises questions of what type of influence they may have over the outcomes of various cases.
Absolutely. All right. Anna Masoglia, Editorial and Investigations Manager for OpenSecrets. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.